Welcome to this dedication, the real dedication of the old school plaque. And it's been a long time coming, as you know, and for a number of you, this is sort of, as Yogi said, deja vu all over again, because we had a dedication on June 2nd last year, and a number of you were here, and unfortunately the plaque wasn't here. That was the only thing that was missing last year. So, in the meantime, we've had the plaque restored, and gone through all of those fundraising conniptions, and I want to thank all of you who have been helpful. The county, the borough, the school district, Doylestown Historical Society. How many of you went to the Doylestown School? Like a number. And you'll remember that the plaque was a stone's throw, just a hop and skip down the street where the school was. And we succeeded to get it brought back as close as possible to have it come back home. Of course, there were all kinds of problems and objections along the way. I remember we had a plan drawn up by Bob Kerr, the architect, who did a very nice job of a freestanding platform for the plaque, and we took it in to see the then chair of the county commissioners, and he said absolutely no. And he said it would be an attractive nuisance for youngsters, and he was concerned about the county's liability. So that was very encouraging. The problem was, could we get it on this wall? How many of you know about the history of this wall? Quite a number of you. And it's a wall that was designed and built back in the millennium, and it's known as the Millennium Wall. And at first the sculptor was very reluctant to do anything that would detract from his wall. However, he probably was unaware of the persuasive power of a woman in Doylestown who owns a restaurant, tap room named Plaque. And she went to work on it, and she kept pounding away, and finally she convinced him that it was really a good idea to put the plaque right here. That simplified everything and really made today possible. Libby White will lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic which stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Speakers have promised to be very brief. I told them under 5 minutes, and the first speaker isn't even here, so that shows how compliant he is. Then Margaret sent her regrets. Now we have the person who really probably made all of this possible. He has the power of life and death in many aspects of this county. He's shaking his head no very modestly. Charlie Martin.
First, by way of accuracy, I am not the chairman of the commissioners this year. Commissioner Lockery is. However, I was chairman when this project started several years ago, I think, Your Honor. And I appreciate the nice, kind way you phrased the original drawing of what was going to be on this site. I think I referred to it, with all due respect, as a large doghouse. And luckily that was shelved, and you proceeded to come up with this drawing, And this rendering here on the Millennium Wall, which I think is a far better way. I thank Lynn Goldman for getting permission to do this instead of the other arrangement, because we left more space, because you'll probably come up with some more things to put in this plot of ground before you're finished. I mean, yes sir, we did the Millennium Wall, we did the plaque for Mr. Eastburn, and we worked with the Jimmy Fox Pavilion, so it's been great working with you on these projects over the years. And I must say, when you have an idea, you follow through and make sure it gets done, even to the point of having the dress rehearsal last year for this, and now we have the real thing. So I think a lot of the real congratulations for this afternoon and for getting this done goes to you, sir, and your persistence, again, the detail work in getting this done. I think it's done the way it should be done, and it'll be a real asset to the borough, and the folks that attended school here will look forward to being able to. I didn't have the pleasure of going to Doylestown, but certainly this will be a good remembrance for the people who will be here, and I think it's in a very appropriate location. So on behalf of the county, thank you very much for putting it on the wall here, and it'll be a real asset to the borough too, I believe. Thank you.
I want to also thank Ed for his tremendous work. I know it was fairly costly to refurbish this, but the board was very enthusiastic and very willing to do its part to contribute to the refurbishing. The school district has always considered the borough school to be the cornerstone of the Central Bucks School District. I don't know if you're familiar with Corinne Cody's book that she just did. This is a history of the Central Bucks School District. She just completed this very shortly before her death. And you can see on the front cover is a picture of the old borough school. And I was reading a little bit about the history. This is a wonderful book, and I think you can get it at the Doylestown bookstore, if I'm not mistaken. It opened in 1890, and by 1894 it had 335 students, grades K through 12. We now have grades K through 12, 23 different schools, and over 20,000 students. So this can be considered absolutely the cornerstone of the school district. So we were very proud and very honored to be asked to contribute, and I'm going to let Kevin do most of the talking for the district, but thank you so much, Ed, for all of your efforts.
Thanks very much.
Thank you, Judge. I also know when to show up and where to sit when the judge instructs me. This week, with the bicentennial celebration going on in Doylestown, I think many residents are really being exposed to the good works of the Doylestown Historical Society, its volunteers, and its leadership for putting on a tremendous event in our borough, and this being one of the fantastic events that's happening this week. I think it's important that we honor and protect the heritage and character of this town. As for myself, I graduated CB West in 1990, but making sure that my children growing up here understand all these great things we have in our community. And when you recognize the school here, we have this wonderful plaque. As we have all this alumni in the audience, I mean, that plaque is more than a wonderful restored piece. It's something that brings you back to that simpler time. And when this town was a little simpler, a little different. I hear the stories from residents. I hear fond memories with the parade just describing how much this school, this building, and this town meant to them. And it's so important to preserve that memory, and that the Doylestown Historical Society has done so much to bring that home. So very appreciative of that work and the good work of the judge and the Historical Society to keep the memory of Doylestown, its great places, and this wonderful foundation that so much of us were able to grow up and enjoy in. Thank you.
Thank you, Judge. I'm almost going to miss your emails. I've been my email pal for a full year now. I didn't know we could do that many fonts in one email, but thank you. I always show people, this is the judge, it's 3 or 4 different fonts. It's great. Thank you. I'm very grateful that this artifact from Doylestown High School has been preserved. Thanks to Doylestown Historical Society and all those who have given money for seeing that this benefit in keeping this part of Doylestown history alive for all to see. It's fitting that this plaque is returning to the spot it first occupied in 1890. Tonight is Senior Awards Night at CB West, and again, as we have for every year since that class has graduated, there'll be a scholarship for the class of 1925, the James Michener class. And so it's fitting on this day that we're still giving that scholarship for the class of 1925, that this plaque is being dedicated. That we should be dedicating a piece of that school that gave the world the anthropologist Margaret Meade, class of 1918, and the writer James Michener. It's very fitting and a good thing we're doing today. For me, the plaque is more than stone. It's the people of this community and those people who have served the world, and that's what makes it most important to me. So again, I thank those who have preserved it. Thank you, Judge, for all your work on it. As you said, I don't have a lot of storage space, and I am glad to get some back. You caught my motives, but I do appreciate you taking care of it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, I got way too much credit for, talking Stephen into doing this with the plaque. My concern in the beginning, well, first I should tell you the history of the wall. It was the millennium, and the Thompson family were very gracious, and I was looking for something. There were three chairmen, myself, Beth Beans, and Dawn Byers, and we were looking for something to commemorate the millennium. So I talked to the Thompson family, who always, again, like Flo, there's certain people that you call and they always step up when you need them. So I called on the Thompson family, and they were very generous in donating the money and also the choice of their sculpture to do something to represent the millennium, and also to put something, a place to put our time capsule. So with that thought in mind, when the judge said about putting up the plaque on the wall, I didn't really, I wanted people to recognize the sculpture in itself for what it was, that it was a work of a great artist, and that this was his vision, and if you see, it says, look to the future through the past, and then he has his great iconic bird that you can always see it and recognize his work. So my concern was I didn't want to take away from what he was trying to create. So that was why there was a little bit of a stall, and just making sure we were doing right by the artist when we decided that it was okay to put the plaque up. So Stephen and Pinky get all the credit, and I just happened to be the person that Judge Ludwig was able to contact, and I accepted all his emails, and Stephen accepted my calls. But anyway, so that's the story of the plaque. The history goes to the Thompsons for this. Stephen said yes to the plaque, and Judge Ludwig made it happen. But the other thing is, since he's thanking everyone today, and I want to thank my partners too, it actually was at this event last year when I was standing next to him, and he reminded me that he was also part of the Bicentennial Committee. And that's when he said to me, hey, I got this book I want you to see, and it tells the story, bicentennial, 100 years, 200 years ago, but he said, would you like to do something again like that? Really, honestly, we didn't really know each other, and so it was one of these, I'm down there, I'll talk to you later, it was a quick yes, and that was it. Wouldn't you know, he called me the very next day, so once you kind of say yes to Stu, you have to live with your commitment. So it was this event that got us to do this event of the week, so I think Judge Ludwig had a major hand in this as well.
Well, I didn't know what the term hornswoggle meant when Judge Ludwig mentioned that, but I think Lynn described as far as it went. There's nothing more involved with hornswoggle than she described. Nobody here is more pleased than I am to see that plaque on this wall at this time. And the reason for that is that when Judge Ludwig had his medical issues last summer, this project fell to me. And so I did get involved in the complexities and fundraising and all those things involved with this thing. And I can tell you that had he not recovered and resumed this project, we would not be standing here right now. So I am very thankful for Judge Ludwig for picking this project up, and I do have an appreciation for what he was talking about when he mentioned some of these complexities. It seems like it should be an easy thing to do, but nothing's easy. So I don't know how he did it, but
addition to that, we are right in the middle of this bicentennial week, and as you know, we're fighting the weather almost every step of the way. And somehow he arranged for this day to have no rain in it. I don't understand how he does these things, but that's right. But he does do that. So
I'll tell you later.
thank you. Right after you describe what you meant by hornswoggle. So, in any case, as Judge Ludwig and Lynn mentioned, we are right in the middle of bicentennial week. This is day number 4 of 6, so we are pretty much in the middle of it. Things are going very well despite some of the rainy times that we've seen. We've had great events. I hope that everybody here has had a chance to visit at least some of them. I am aware that some of the events do overlap, so you can't get to all of them. And I can tell you that it's not too late. This night, right now, in addition to the fashion show that Lynn mentioned, you already know about the horse and buggy rides. We're going to finish early enough you can probably get on one of those rides. There is a historical lecture at the Historical Society. The Civil War will be done in lecture from the guy who is the famous guy for doing these Civil War lectures at the Civil War Museum. And unfortunately, I can never pronounce his last name, so I won't bother here. And in addition to that, the Mercer Museum is having an open house tonight, together with Gilbert and Sullivan Quartet and everything else. So hope you can attend some of those events as well, and thank you very much.
Well, I'll tell you, if you had to get sick, have somebody come in and take over your job. You can't hear me? Okay. I was saying if you had to get sick and have somebody else come over and take on your job, you couldn't have been a better person. We actually arranged this before I knew I was going to get sick. And I don't think he had anything to do with my getting sick, but I'm still not 100% sure. Okay, well now, does anybody really want to see the plaque? It's unbelievably old, and it shows it's been around for a while, even though the restoration work was, I think, very well done. I want to thank Teresa of the county staff, and I hope Charlie, her good work will be recognized. Good. She's really terrific, very easy to work with, practical, does all the right things at the right time. Okay, we're now going to unveil the plaque, and I've asked Kevin Monolly, who was able to create some room in his closet by having the plaque put here, to unveil the plaque and read it to us. Thank you, Kevin. Do you need something? That's the county's responsibility.
There you go. Whoa. Here, Stu.
Oh, somebody breaks a knife with it. There you go.
I'm not allowed to have a knife in school.
Stay on the side of the wall.
Look better than last year.
Oh, it's not nice.
Doylestown Public School erected AD 1889, and it's in far better shape than when I found it in the closet, Judge.
Thank you.